life for me. The Kraken left from the ocean brine, look out, me hearties, yo-ho. And to the locker the sparrow can find, look out, me hearties, yo-ho. Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me. The goddess Dutchman a sparrow saved, look out, me hearties, yo-ho. And brought a blackguard back from the grave, look out, me hearties, yo-ho. Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me. The flying Dutchman is on the hunt, look out, me hearties, yo-ho. To punish a sparrow for his affront, look out, me hearties, yo-ho. Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me. Within the chest his secret sleeps, look out, me hearties, yo-ho. The heart of Davy Jones still beats, look out, me hearties, yo-ho. Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me.
Ahoy there, mateys. I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. So, in my last episode, I blogged the second Pirates of the Caribbean film where Jack Sparrow was seeking the dead man's chest while also trying to find a way out of his debt with Davy Jones. Unfortunately, Davy Jones' heart was stolen by James Norrington and was given to Lord Cutler Beckett of the East India Trading Company, and Jack Sparrow and his ship, the Black Pearl, were dragged by the Kraken into Davy Jones Locker. Thankfully, Jack's friends and crew make a vow, and they agree to travel to World's End with help from Tia Dalma and Captain Barbossa to rescue him no matter how far they're willing to go. So, how does the adventure in the third movie hold up? Well, let's find out. Released on May 25th, 2007, the movie is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Now, let's set sail, mateys. In this film, Elizabeth Swann, Will Turner, and Captain Barbossa join forces to rescue Captain Jack Sparrow from Davy Jones Locker. Meanwhile, Lord Cutler Beckett, now with control of Davy Jones' heart, forms a dark alliance with him in order to rule the seas and wipe out the last of the pirates. Now, Jack, Barbossa, Will, Elizabeth, Tia Dalma, and the rest of the crew must call the pirate lords from the four corners of the globe, including the infamous Sao Fang, to gather for the Brethren Court. The pirate lords want to release the goddess Calypso, Davy Jones' damned lover, from the trap they sent her to out of fear, in which the pirate lords must combine the 9 pieces of 8 that bound her by ritual to undo it and release her in hopes that she will help them fight. With this, all pirates will stand together and make their final stand for freedom against the Flying Dutchman and the entire East India Trading Company. So, what do I personally think of this movie? Well, not only was it a huge improvement over Dead Man's Chest, but it's got to be my absolute favorite sequel in this Pirates franchise. And to further explain what I mean, let's move on to Mustang notes. So, for the third film, director Gore Verbinski wanted to return the tone to that of a character piece after using the second film to keep the plot moving. Inspired by the real-life confederation of pirates, Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio looked to historical figures and created fictional characters from them to expand the scope beyond the main cast. Finally embellishing their mythology, Calypso was introduced, going full circle to Barbossa's mention of heathen gods that created the curse in the first film. Parts of the third film were shot during location filming of Pirates of the Caribbean 2, a long shoot which finished on March 1st, 2006. During August 2005, the Singapore sequence was shot. The set was built on stage 12 of the Universal Studios backlot and was comprised of 40 structures within an 80 by 130 foot tank that was 3 plus a half foot deep. As 18th century Singapore is not a well documented era, the filmmakers chose to use expressionist style based on Chinese and Malaysian cities of the same period. The design of the city was also intended by Verbinski to parody spa culture with fungi growing throughout the set. Continuing this natural feel, the floorboards of Sao Fang's bathhouse had to be cut by hand, and real humidity was created by the combination of gallons of water and the lighting equipment on the set. Filming resumed on August 3rd, 2006 until early 2007 for 70 days off the California coast, as all the shooting required in the Caribbean had been conducted in 2005. Davy Jones Locker was shot at the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah, and it was shot in a monochromatic way to represent its different feeling from the usual colorful environment of a pirate. The climactic battle was shot in a former air hangar in Palmdale, California, where the cast had to wear wetsuits underneath their costumes on angle-tip ships. The water-drenched set was kept in freezing temperatures to make sure bacteria did not come inside and infect the crew. A second unit was shot at Niagara Falls. Industrial Light and Magic did 750 effect shots, while Digital Domain also took on 300. They spent just 5 months finishing the special effects. The film posed numerous challenges in creating water-based effects. Filming finished on December 12, 2006 in Molokai, and the first assembly cut was 3 hours. 20 minutes were removed, not including the end credits, though producer Jerry Bruckheimer maintained that the long running time was needed to make the final battle work in terms of buildup. Now, what I like about this movie is the story and how it connects to the previous film. Also, there were several moments in the film that were pretty interesting to me, like the moment where Jack and crew discover the corpse of the Kraken on Black Sand Beach. And I also like that the film shows many different pirates from all around the world during the Brethren Court meeting, which feels pretty similar to what my friends at Musical Theater Village do for the pirates in Captain Hook's crew. Also, I think the fight scenes in this film are pretty badass, as well as comical and thrilling. My favorites being the Singapore battle and the climactic Maelstrom battle at Shipwreck Cove. I also like the several Easter eggs and references from the original Disneyland ride. For example, there's a scene where the Hai Peng plummets over a massive waterfall that leads into Davy Jones Locker, which is a reference to the first 2 waterfalls, which may remind you guys frightened me when I was little. Following that, we hear a couple well-known audio and sounds from the ride, like the original Wicked Wind Captain, who was replaced by Barbossa in 2006, the Auctioneer, whose dialogue was slightly altered 5 years ago, and the ghostly voice saying the famous line, "Dead men tell no tales." Plus, the prison dog with keys, who was last seen on the Pelagosas Island, appears with Captain Teague during the Brethren Court meeting. And we also hear the beloved Yo Ho song by Existencio during the film's ending and epilogue. Also to note, this movie was one of 3 films all theatrically released during 2007, which were also third movies in their franchise. The other 2 being Shrek the Third and Spider-Man 3. And out of all these 3 movies, Pirates of the Caribbean 3 is my all-time favorite. Plus, this movie influenced a fan favorite level in Kingdom Hearts 3, where Sora, Donald Duck, and Goofy accidentally stumble into Davy Jones' locker, reunite with Jack Sparrow and friends, acquire a ship of their own called the Leviathan, and help Jack Sparrow fight Davy Jones, while Organization 13's Luxord, along with Vexen, hope to seize the dead man's chest due to them believing that it was the black box they've been looking for. And that's all I got for Mustang notes. So let's move on to the cast. Our main protagonist, Captain Jack Sparrow, is once again played by Johnny Depp, best known from the original Nightmare on Elm Street, Finding Neverland, the Fantastic Beasts films, several Tim Burton movies, along with Sherlock Gnomes and Into the Woods. As I previously stated, Jack Sparrow is a really awesome pirate, and he makes a very irrelevant trickster. Plus, Johnny Depp still does great at giving him a humorous and eccentric personality, as well as a slightly drunken swagger. Anyway, during this movie, Jack Sparrow is trapped in Davy Jones' locker after getting dragged by the Kraken, and when his former crew mount a rescue party and return him to the land of the living, Jack doesn't seem that much happy to see some of them due to, in his words, 4 of them trying to kill him. Anyway, in my eyes, Jack has several funny and memorable moments in this movie. For example, there are a couple times where Jack hallucinates, seeing multiple versions of himself, and there's a scene where Jack solves the riddle in the navigational charts, which indicates that the Black Pearl must be capsized in order to escape the locker. Also to mention, Jack is revealed to be one of the 9 pirate lords, and he possesses a piece of 8 in the form of an ancient coin from Siam attached to his bandana. Plus, not only is Jack an awesome party member in Kingdom Hearts 3, but I also like that he shows respect for Sora, Donald, and Goofy, and he even trusts them to a certain extent. Also, I like that he teaches the young Keyblade Master how to sail a ship, even though he wasn't physically with him too much during their adventure. Next is Will Turner, again played by Orlando Bloom, best known from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings / Hobbit trilogies, Troy, and Elizabethtown. In my eyes, Will is still a brave, loyal, and noble man who was willing to risk his life for the people he cared about. And he's also a man of his word, and if he made a promise, he would always stick to it. He promised to free his father, Bootstrap Bill, from Davy Jones and the Flying Dutchman, and he tried to do everything he could to honor that vow, but not forgetting that he still loves Elizabeth, and he wants to get her back into his life. During the Maelstrom battle at Shipwreck Cove, Will becomes Elizabeth's husband, but unfortunately, he gets stabbed to death by Davy Jones. However, Jack helps Will stab the heart, killing Jones in the process, which also made Will captain of the Flying Dutchman. Next is his fiancée, Elizabeth Swann, played by Keira Knightley, whom was in Star Wars Episode 1, King Arthur, Pride and Prejudice, Princess of Thieves, and The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. To me, Elizabeth is still a spirited and independent-minded character, as well as a quick-witted and clever woman. Plus, she's really fierce and a competitive fighter. In this movie, after rescuing Jack Sparrow from the locker, she joined the desperate quest to gather the 9 pirate lords of the Brethren Court. On the way to Shipwreck Cove, Elizabeth was brought aboard Cao Fang's flagship, the Empress, which she'd later become captain of due to a cannonball from the Flying Dutchman killing Cao Fang, and during the meeting of the pirate lords, Elizabeth becomes the new king of the Brethren Court. Next up is Captain Hector Barbossa, played by Jeffrey Rush, whom was in 1998's Les Miserables, Pixar's Finding Nemo, Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole, and of course, Illumination's Minions. In the first film, Barbossa was the one who mutinied Jack Sparrow and marooned him on Run Runner's Island. He even strapped Bootstrap Bill Turner to a cannon and sent him down to the crushing black oblivion of Davy Jones Locker. And he's been spending 10 years as an undead pirate due to him and his crew being cursed by the Aztec treasure, until he was shot by Jack. During this movie, after being resurrected by Tia Dalma, Barbossa leads the quest to rescue Jack Sparrow from Davy Jones Locker, and he also summoned the fourth meeting of the Brethren Court in a war against Lord Cutler Beckett. To me, Barbossa is confident, persuasive, and daring, and I like that he serves as an ally rather than a villain here. Plus, I think he's a very skilled swordsman and a master seaman who has excellent navigational abilities. Also, I was pretty shocked that Barbossa got to say one of Captain X's quotes from the ride. Plus, I think Barbossa's monkey, who's also named Jack, is a really smart, sneaky, and feisty little guy. And he has a few funny moments, like when he aims a pistol at Cotton's parrot, or when he's shot out of a cannon during the final battle. Another character to talk about is Captain Cao Fang, played by Chow Yun-fat, whom I remember from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Dragon Ball Evolution. Now, Fang is the pirate lord of Singapore and scourge of the South China Sea, and in my opinion, he's pretty ruthless and cunning, but was well respected by his fellow pirate lords. He commanded a vast fleet of junks, crewed with loyal soldiers and sailors, all of whom he used to extend his influence to. For unknown reasons, Cao Fang has held a grudge against Jack Sparrow, as he once paid him great insult. Plus, Cao Fang owns a bathhouse that caters to the highest paying clients. He also has at least 2 ships at his disposal, the Hai Peng and the Empress. Fang also had in his possession unique navigational charts that mapped the routes to mythical locations. In battle, Cao Fang was a skilled combatant with his attacks highly varied. As the pirate lord of the South China Sea, Cao Fang owned one of 9 pieces of 8, which he later passed on to Elizabeth Swann, whom he believed to be the goddess Calypso. Next we come to the evil Davy Jones, played again by Bill Nighy, whom was in Harry Potter 7 Part 1, along with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Astro Boy, Jerry Bruckheimer's G-Force, Aardman's Arthur Christmas, ILM's Rango, and of course Pokemon Detective Pikachu. In this film, not long after his Kraken drags Jack Sparrow into the locker, Jones became forced to do Lord Beckett's bidding due to his heart being in the possession of the East India Trading Company. No thanks to James Norrington stealing it. Under Beckett's control, Jones was forced to kill the Kraken, and he leads Beckett's armada in the fight against the Fourth Brethren Court. To me, Jones is still one of the best live-action Disney villains ever. Plus, he sees love as a dreadful bond, yet so easily severed. And he makes life very difficult for the Marines policing him. Plus, he's also unempathetic towards those who do not hold up their end in deals with him, such as trying to make Jack become his slave for 100 years. And I think his relationship with Calypso does make Jones somewhat sympathetic, revealing a softer side hidden under years of guilt, anger, and bitterness. Also, I think he's one of the best bosses in Kingdom Hearts 3. Next we come to the main antagonist for the movie, Lord Cutler Beckett, played again by Tom Hollander, whom was in Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle, and Bohemian Rhapsody. As I previously stated, Beckett is the leader of the East India Trading Company, who'll do whatever he thinks is necessary to achieve his goal of filling in the blank areas on the world map and rid the seven seas of pirates and end the age of piracy. Also, I still stand by that Beckett is an ambitious, cold-blooded, and utterly ruthless man, even though he claims what he's doing is nothing personal but good business. Well, I say it's business that'll ruin everybody's lives if you ask me. Also, not only does he use the Flying Dutchman to gain control of the seas, but he also executes hundreds of people who he believed to even have the remotest association with piracy, including children. And he also kills Elizabeth's father, Governor Weatherby Swan. Plus, in one scene, Beckett uses Jack to divulge information about the Brethren Court in exchange for fair compensation and his debt with Davy Jones Squared, and he also follows a trail of bodies tied to barrels which were thrown overboard by Will Turner. Next is Jack's first mate, Joshua Gibbs, played by Kevin McNally, who played Joseph Bouquet in the 2004 Phantom of the Opera movie. Now, Gibbs is still one of my favorite characters in this franchise due to him being a generally knowledgeable person, and I like that he shows true loyalty to Jack. Also, Gibbs is one of the few people who wanted to rescue Jack from Davy Jones Locker because he missed him. Next we have Pintel and Rigetti, played by Lee Ehrenberg and Mackenzie Crook. To me, these guys are still incompetent, bumbling, and really silly at times. And during this movie, they have pretty funny moments, like when they tie themselves to the mast upside down. And during the Brethren Court, it's revealed that Rigetti's wooden eye is actually Barbossa's piece of 8. Moving on, we have Bootstrap Bill Turner, played again by Stellan Skarsgård, whom was Eric Selvig in the MCU, Bill Anderson in the Mamma Mia movies, the Grand Duke in the 2015 Cinderella remake, and he was also in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Dune, which will be getting a sequel this coming November. In the last movie, after years of being on Davy Jones' crew, Bootstrap became reunited with his son Will, who made a promise to free him from the Flying Dutchman. However, as time went by, Bootstrap was gradually losing himself and was literally becoming a part of the ship. Also, I really felt bad that Bootstrap was losing his humanity and becomes slightly delusional. But on the positive side, I like the part where he attacked Davy Jones in a fit of rage when Will got wounded. Finally, we come to Tia Dalma, played again by Naomi Harris, whom I remember for being in the latest Venom sequel. Tia Dalma is a witch doctor from the swamps of Cuba and a longtime friend of Jack Sparrow's. During the conclusion of Dead Man's Chest, Tia Dalma was the one who resurrected Barbossa from the dead in order to lead Jack's crew to World's End, and during this movie, she accompanies the Black Pearl crew to rescue Jack from the locker. In my eyes, Tia Dalma has got to be the most interesting character in this entire movie, mainly due to the fact that she is, in reality, the goddess Calypso, and she has a very mysterious love past connection with Davy Jones. Throughout these two sequels, Tia Dalma seeks a way to be set free from her human form permanently. Also, during the events of Kingdom Hearts 3, Tia Dalma was a very surprising ally for Sora and the gang due to her taking an interest in the young Keyblade Master, believing that the power of the Keyblade could release her from her bond, and the fact that she creates a second Jack Sparrow from her magical crabs. Other actors in the movie include Jonathan Pryce as Elizabeth's father, Governor Weatherby Swan, Jack Davenport as Admiral James Norrington, David Bailey as Cotton, Martin Cabla as Marty, David Schofield as Beckett's second-in-command, Mr. Mercer, Angus Barnett and Gilles New as Murtaugh and Mulroy, and Rolling Stone founder Keith Richards as Jack's father and the keeper of the Pirate Codex for the Brethren Court, Captain Edward Teague. And now on to my final words. Overall, Pirates of the Caribbean 3 at World's End is a really thrilling movie, and it's got to be my absolute favorite sequel in this pirate film series. The story is both epic and emotional, the characters are still amazing, the Maelstrom battle is thrilling and intense, and it has several funny and badass moments. Plus, the musical score by Hans Zimmer is excellent, and I'm glad that this movie inspired one of my favorite Kingdom Hearts levels. As for my rating, I'll give it a 97% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Join me for my next blog where I look at one more pirate movie. To be continued.